You know what? Let's go. I'm going to go ahead and talk about this situation. So here we go. Okay, let's go ahead and watch a video about Kirsche. So she's been banned from Offkai. So here's a video edited by Azehara Ch, who happens to be a clipper. So this was taken off for one of her streams that she did. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the video and tell me what you guys think. This is what she has to say. So here we go.
I have something somewhat important to talk about. Normally, normally we laugh at idiots online and we don't get into anything like super serious outside of like Bridge and its ramifications, but like I would feel remiss if I did not talk about my recent blacklisting. Because not only does it affect me, obviously,
leave a comment, push me in the algorithm,
but it will affect other people besides me going forward. Because free speech is an issue that I care about. And I also care about not giving in to cancel culture people who want to create some weird idol of you inside their head. I was supposed to be on an 18+ panel at Offkai, and I'm not going to talk about who organized the panel or what the panel was about because I don't want them to face any ramifications for me talking about this. But I have been blacklisted from appearing on panels at Offkai, and I felt that this was a very weird thing to happen considering the audience that Offkai panders to and the type of people that go to Offkai. And so I wanted to contact people who worked at Offkai to find out what the fuck was going on. So I messaged Offkai on Twitter, and as you can see, this is literally the first time I've ever spoken to them. I was like, hello, Offkai Expo people. I was slated to be on a panel for the upcoming Offkai. However, I just received notice today that I would apparently be too risky to have on said panel by the Offkai organizers. And I'm curious what the issue is. I appreciate you getting back to me, thank. And the Offkai staff responded, hey Kirsche, sorry about the back and forth. We usually ask to approve any co-panelist ahead of time, but this case fell through the cracks. We hope you understand that given the current tumultuous state of VTubing, we would like to avoid collaboration with somewhat polarizing creators such as yourself. And I was like, no, actually, I do not understand, as I personally have no issues getting sponsors, short or long term, with both products and games. I do not promote hateful rhetoric, and I'm genuinely surprised that I would be blacklisted from your convention. It feels more like a single person who dislikes me has poisoned the well. You guys have hosted VTubers who have participated in harassment campaigns, which leaves me even more confused as to what part of my content would be a problem. And Offkai responded, I can assure you that no single person would have the ability to make such a call, and that this is also not a sponsor-related issue.
Well, they're talking about a certain VTuber. She's talking about a VTuber known as Morena, who harassed Pika me a long time ago. It happens to be like a transgender person, and she was a transgender VTuber who harassed Pika and appeared at Offkai probably about 2 years ago. I think it happened, or 1 year ago, and to my remembrance of that whole situation, she's just talking about that specific person, because it turns out that person got exposed when they did the rainbow colored her rainbow colored group got exposed into a drama that was so bad that exposed her as a really bad disingenuous person. And a lot of people were talking about this situation, especially other content creators in the VTuber sphere were talking about her. It was surprisingly sad too, because she had no friends in the VTuber space. She pretty much made enemies. Kirsten, I don't have a problem with her. She's a nice person. So
please understand that we are an all-volunteer run event, and your name coming up made a number of our staff uncomfortable. We value our team a lot and do not want to cause issues this close to the convention. That is why the executive team decided against having you participate in the panel. This is not a blacklisting. You are still free to attend or participate in
a blacklisting. This is not a blacklisting, guys. Come on. But you're excluding her from the panel, telling her that you can't come to the panel because of the fact that she is controversial. You just mentioned she was controversial. And you mentioned that my staff did not feel comfortable around you. You're don't hurt me. That's what you're saying right there. That's what you're saying with your message right here. You're telling us like, hey, don't hurt me. That's what you're trying to tell Kirsche here, that you come on, dude. Stop playing this shit. Like, for whoever's doing this, the talking and that whole message thing, they need to fire that person, and also the fact that the person needs to understand that it's really bad. Keep in mind, because you just said, I can assure you this is no single person that would have the ability to make such a call. This is also not a sponsor related issue. Please understand that we are all volunteer run event, and your name came up and made a number of our staff uncomfortable, which you said a number of people. So it has to be uncomfortable. So explain to me who's uncomfortable.
Other ways. I'm sorry, but this is the amount of information I am able to share. When I read, we value the team, we don't want to cause issues this close to the convention, that's why they decided against having you participate. This made me think of the Niji Sanji language, where they're like, yeah, this will be negligible.
Let's go!
This is not a blacklisting. You are still free to attend or participate in other ways. If I am not able to participate in panels, that is a blacklisting. If I can still come as a normal attendee by paying you, that just means I'm not banned from the convention. There's a difference between being blacklisted and being banned. And if I am not able to participate in panels because I make staff uncomfortable, why the hell would I want to give you my money to show up as a regular person? That just makes no sense.
Yeah,
gaslighting on display. Oh, the gaslighting gets way worse. It's very amusing. So I think if people are accusing me of making them uncomfortable, I have a right to know what I have said or done to cause that, especially if it is affecting my ability to participate in panels and having an effect on my friends as well. Again, you have platformed VTubers who actively participated in harassment, something I have never done. So I do not understand the issue with my presence. Also, to say that this isn't a blacklisting is disingenuous. You're telling me I'm not allowed to participate in panels, which is a blacklisting. I haven't heard back from you guys today, so as you can see, there's a jump in a date. It's been a day.
Yeah.
Haven't heard back from you guys today, and I would like to be able to rectify this privately if possible. However, if left no other option, I will be speaking about this publicly. And then someone else responded, says, hello, this is Lysander. I'm the director of this year's Offkai, and if you're open to it, I'd like to talk about it more in depth. I'll try to give you as much information as I can about it, but as you may guess, it's complicated. As I go into the DMs that I had with the director of Offkai, I want to preface anything else said with please do not bother the Offkai staff.
Yeah.
Please
don't do it.
Do anything that would further
Don't be stupid. Don't be retarded.
Make their claims seem real when they say that they are uncomfortable. It's not. I don't want anyone to have any sort of ramifications against the staff. Do not do
don't be
anything
retarded,
to the
kids.
staff. I don't even know who the staff are. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't
Yeah, I would say don't be retarded.
even know who the Offkai staff are, but if you know any of them, do not say anything to them. Do not harass them. Do not do any campaigning against the Offkai staff. Do not do that. Very simple. You just no longer support Offkai with your money. Exactly. Vote with your wallet. Do not engage the people. And so getting into the DMs. So I'm really sorry for interrupting you on your vacation like this. I'll start with the what about X party situation. If you're referring to who I think you are, they were part of our event last year, but that was before everything went down. We chose this year to not continue to work with them, but aren't all knowing of each group or person we work with and try to do basic screening, but sometimes things just don't get found. And that's kind of a nice sentiment, that somebody who actually does actively participate in harassment is someone that they won't work with. Our organization is made up of all volunteers from pretty much every background you can think of. No one's getting paid, so a lot of the difficulties of managing 100+ people is making sure our team feels comfortable giving up their free time to help us. And this is where after they decide to blacklist me, they try to go for the pity route, because like I said, I already told them I would go public if we couldn't solve this in private. So there you will see a lot of "oh, woe is me" kind of language in this.
Yeah, it does.
I think it's fair to say that you are a bit controversial with a lot of your takes, especially for a staff largely based in California. During the pitch phase, we talk with the panelists about topics and people they want to work with and clear it with our staff first. And in this case, we didn't know until everything was already in motion last week, basically. There are a lot of volunteers involved in working either directly or indirectly with every guest and panelist, and it isn't exactly fair for us to ask them to do something they're not comfortable with. And I might just be, ignorant of how cons work, right?
Yeah.
But if there are certain volunteers who just dislike me or the things that I say, can they not just work on different panel? Can they just not be in the room during the panel that I am on? We're in a difficult spot of managing guest, panelist, staff, industry...
And I kind of agree with that point. If they don't want to work with that person, they can go work with another person in another panel. It's that simple, but... It's kind of like I used to remember when I was working when I volunteered at a convention. I knew a girl that did not like a certain cosplayer, and they talked about this cosplayer. But the thing is, I understood the reason why. It's because she was too revealing, and she didn't like the cosplayer because she was too revealing. And it's kind of yeah, that's kind of true. And I don't blame her. It's kind of the thing that I kind of hope that people can understand. This stuff is crazy, but as far as I know, this is something that can be adjusted, because sometimes the girl would avoid her, but she'll try nicely to be professional with her, the cosplayer in question. But I understand that sometimes this cosplayer can be very revealing, and I try to even I'm nice to the girl because she wasn't really a bad person. But she had an issue with her, risque outfits. That was the issue. And the girl could have just worked, it didn't want to work with her, which is fine, because we had other people that could volunteer and take over that would work with her. Because it was kind of the thing that happens in conventions when you volunteer.
Expectations and balancing them all. So that's what led us to asking that you don't participate in the panel. We did get a list of screenshots of things that made staff uncomfortable. If you do wish to see some of them, they are mostly tweets that you've made in the past. Oh, don't worry, chat. They are freaking amusing.
A few minutes later.
And I said, you say mostly tweets. I'm interested in what was given as reasoning beside the tweet. And he responded, a lot of them come down to gender identity and diversity, equity, and inclusion type issues.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
And it shows 7 screenshots here. I'll bring those up. There's 7 screenshots that I was given. The first one is a reply to Sam Hyde, where I said, Sam winning a woman's weightlifting competition when? This is a very obvious joke. I do not see how this is offensive. I do not understand, especially considering we've seen men in Canada and the United States without changing their gender identity enter into women's weightlifting and then win. I am quite literally making a comedic commentary based on real life facts. This is not an opinion.
Yeah, she tends to make fun of Sam Hyde a lot. I kind of agree. Last time she kind of the whole situation with that Seattle lawyer, like, I kind of agreed with her point that does sound like Sam Hyde's voice. and I'm sorry, lady. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, lady from Seattle. Everyone thinks it's Sam Hyde that was behind the lawyer, but no offense to the lady. I apologize.
Opinion. This is something that has literally happened. Good to be aware. It's very good to be aware because, and you'll see this in the DMs, this is a pattern. This is not the first year they have tried blacklisting someone. It's just that I am an indie, so I am an easy target. Once again, you can see their language talking about how it'll be negligible for their bottom line to capitulate to the cancel pigs instead. Speaking of literal violence, check out how offensive my next tweet is. In the United States, we have LGBTQIP2SAA, which means lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, queer, questioning, intersex, pansexual, two-spirit, asexual, and ally. But in Canada, they have 2S LGBTQI+, and the plus in Canada's acronym is people who identify as part of sexual and gender diverse communities. I hope this helps. Even in my DM with Lysander, you can see at the bottom, I was like, that second screenshot is literally me giving the definition for acronyms. What? I was like, what the actual heck do you mean? And so I looked up the tweet as well. And Michael here from that dirty far-right Nazi magazine niche gamer, he asked, what the f even is 2S LGBTQI+++, responding to Justin Trudeau, who said the acronym in a tweet. 2 likes. How did they even find it? As you can see in some of these other images, not this one, as you can see, they have like the word pronoun highlighted. So they quite literally searched my tweets for things to be offended by, because that's apparently what you do if you volunteer for Offkai. The next tweet that I was given for why I am problematic is one of my responses to Tim Pool saying DEI isn't dying and we haven't won. I've been talking about Bridge for months and even linked my findings to Timcast and others for more coverage. Don't celebrate when we're still in the war. We can win, but we need to stay vigilant and not rest on our laurels that don't even exist. This is probably one of the least problematic tweets I've made. It's a personal beef. They don't actually care. They just don't like me. Which is why there are people going to Offkai who have, for example, said the N-word, and that's perfectly okay. That's perfectly fine. But I'm a problem. Not that I think you can't say the N-word.
She's right. She has a point.
Defended some of these people, for sure. If you're singing along to a song, it is perfectly fine to sing the words in the song, in my opinion. Moving right along to another horrible, offensive, murderous tweet. Guys. After its last year's strange decision to get rid of everyone's discriminator, Discord seems to be rolling out a pronoun feature for your bio. The pronoun field in Discord didn't have any censorship on it, so I found this out that you could have your pronoun. So I found out you could quite literally make your pronoun candy ass roadie poo, and that was perfectly fine. So I had to go around to other like corporate VTuber servers that I was in and be like, hey yo, you should look out for people with this new pronoun field because they can quite literally put slurs in it, and I know that would cause issues for you. So I even helped people avoid controversy by telling them about this. But no, me making my pronouns Burger Queen, that's a problem. That is terrorism. I am a stochastic terrorist. How dare I be a Burger Queen?
Yeah, because she does have a point. Like, anyone can practically make up a pronoun on there. I could probably make up a pronoun that I identify as helmet head. That's pretty much the pronoun.
And then we have replying here. They didn't say other than pick related. It happened on a day after a post I made on pronoun people infecting an anime wiki. I, at this point, don't even remember what the anime wiki was or what happened to it, because this was back in like November of last year.
Yeah.
That I got mass reported for that tweet that I made. So I just imagined some Twitter freaks mass flagging, which might also be why I got the "your account has been reinstated" response so quickly. So these volunteers at Offkai who wanted me kicked out didn't even read the context behind what they were posting. I was the victim of mass flagging and reporting, and they're using this as a reason why I am a bad person. And the only screenshot I was given that I was like, I can understand why someone who doesn't watch my content might find this problematic, was Azehara's clip on me standing up for the Fruit Farmer website. She defended Kiwi Farms, the site that must not be named. Kiwi Farms is an important website. If Kiwi Farms falls, if people who have been harassing that website, harassing the people that host it, get it taken down, that will unleash the floodgates for other websites that people deem problematic to also get taken down. And every time I have made any defense of the Fruit Farm website,
Yeah, because even if you take down that website, there's going to be others that will fall, that will do far worse than what Kiwi Farms does. And a lot of people don't realize that. I'm not going to mention the websites, but there are websites out there that do far worse than Kiwi Farms does. And even if you think you could stop them all or try to destroy their ISPs, who have done far worse things to the LGBTQ, disabled people and others, well, let me explain this. Kiwi Farms only digs into information. That's what they do. They share information. I consider it more like a private eye website. Like, they investigate things. And whenever they investigate certain things, they investigate why is this person doing this? Is this person scamming people? Is this person faking this to get attention? This is kind of the thing that people ask around, because a lot of people tend to find a lot of evidence and dig into the history of these people and what they do online. And it tends to be that way. And they tend to call out the worst of the worst. Like, even they can call me out for what I done. I made a lot of mistakes, and I can admit I made a lot of mistakes. I'm not a perfect person, and I don't claim to be a perfect person, but they can be right about a lot of things about a person. And as far as I know, you can hate the person, you could disagree with the person, but sometimes they find out a lot of things that can be a little bit dark on that person. And that person can be a little bit more, well, how you say, criminal.
I always loop on how I dislike doxing. I don't like the amount of doxing that happens there. I don't like how some people feel the need to dox innocent people who have done nothing. They're also an important website of archiving and information. Whenever a mass shooting happens, the majority of information on that shooting is typically on Kiwi Farms before it's anywhere else. So I feel like anyone who stands up for free speech should defend Kiwi Farms. But this ends the screenshots that I was shown for why I am too problematic to have at Offkai.
Yeah.
And literally none of them, except the Kiwi Farms one, even makes any amount of sense. If you're going to bully an indie, don't do it for ideological reasons. Oh, man. If you don't get paid to do the work, you don't get a say in who can and can't be there. I can understand if they're like, well, we need volunteers, but are the volunteers who hold you hostage and say, well, we'll leave and not help you if you don't get rid of the people we don't like, is that the base you want to have for your convention? Is Pippa aware of this? Not asking her to do anything, just if she's aware. I would never want to put Pippa in a position to do anything about this because of how entwined Phase Connect is with.
Yeah, because whatever you do, please don't harass the staff or anyone involved, because this is kind of out of their hands right now. And don't attend this year or next year if you're already paid a plane ticket or booked in a room. Just go ahead and have fun if you feel you need to go to that convention and meet your other fellow VTubers. That's pretty much what I would say. But if you feel that this is the wrong thing, don't attend next year.
With Offkai, I would feel like a person if I asked her to do anything about this. So she has nothing to do with anything that I am about to say. Good friend, I do not want to bring issues for Pippa, but her name will come up and I will have some explaining to do. And his response to me asking about the volunteers if they can just work on a different panel, he gives kind of a runaround here where he says this is a more difficult question since all conventions are different. There's a lot of for-profit or larger conventions where things are departmentalized or paid with very different structures. Generally, the larger they get, the less they care about drama, just as a rule of thumb. And I think it shouldn't matter how large you are as a convention. I think if you have principles, you should stand on them. If you want to grow your convention, blacklisting people that you think will be negligible to your bottom line because they made edgy joke is not the way to go. And they've done this before. They've done this to me. They will do it again. And especially because they were successful with blacklisting me this time, volunteers will feel emboldened in years to come, where if they don't like you, if you've made any sort of off-color joke, the volunteers can just say, me or them, and Offkai will capitulate. This is not going to stop if this is the way they are trying to build their convention. That's why I know you didn't like it, but we said you're not blacklisted. Once again, the gaslighting. It is very, very late into the planning process to try.
Once again, the gaslighting.
And accommodate. Like Oshi Live, for example, is doing robot rides for VTubers around the con. Or there are other groups doing meet and greets from their tables directly or on iPads. There's also the element of volunteering that's different from normal work that's a bit hard to explain. Since it's all unpaid, there's a lot of people who attach more of their own self to the cause or organization that they're volunteering for, regardless of what it is. So even if they aren't directly involved with you, there's that element of the organization doing something you disagree with. I like how they try to say it's not a blacklisting, but then they say that volunteers attach their sense of self to the organization that they're volunteering for. So even if they aren't involved with my panel, the organization merely dealing with me is problematic for these people. I was like, you can't weasel word your ways with me, sir. We hope we can grow into a place where we're large enough to fully insulate people, but it's only our 3rd year and growing is difficult. So you're saying that once you get large enough, you'll be able to say screw off to the volunteers? The volunteers you're capitulating to now? What makes you think? What makes you think if you are blacklisting me on...
Oh, so they're saying you're not big enough for us to keep you in as a guest in the on the panel. That's what they're saying. That's kind of sad.
Very normal jokes. What makes you think anyone who has any sort of edgy content will want to be involved in your organization if they know that at any point in time a volunteer can just be like, I don't like this VTuber, and you'll bend over backwards to keep the volunteer instead of dealing with the VTuber? Especially from the screenshots that you've shown, I've done nothing wrong and said nothing hateful. You said there were more complaints beside the tweet, so I'm curious as to what those were. This is the 2nd time I have asked for what besides the tweets was said. He did not answer me the first time, and he does not answer me this time. And I say, this seems like people being petty, possibly the same people who didn't want Pippa to be there previously. I'm an easier mark to get rid of since I do not have the backing of a company, much less a company that sponsors so much of Offkai. And this is where things get funny, chat. Previously, Offkai had the same exact issue where volunteers said, either you remove Pippa from the con or we quit. But because FaZe has unity, and they have the either we all go or none of us go mentality, Offkai couldn't kick Pippa out and instead lost the volunteers. That was not negligible because she had the backing of a company. The funny part is, I thought that this was Offkai, and so I mentioned it to him as if I knew that this happened, because I thought that it did.
What the hell is this spicy cat raid?
I was getting Offkai confused with Youmacon. Youmacon had tons of public posts about how they only wanted like a couple of FaZe members, and FaZe did the either we all go or none of us do. And so they were all allowed to go to Youmacon. And somewhere in my brain, since it had been so long since this happened, for some reason I thought that that was Pippa getting blacklisted from Offkai. And so again, I said it as if I knew that it was true. And apparently it did happen, but I didn't know that. I had just gotten confused. But the director of Offkai confirmed it and said the people who had caused the issues with Pippa left us last year as well. So I just did the best poker face in my entire fucking life. And the director just confirmed that it happened without me actually knowing. So many bullets in their feet!
Italian, that means I can
So like, when I was trying to find like the public tweets that I had read about Offkai, both me and Ziz were like, the only things we can find are Youmacon. And I was like, all these tweets are very familiar. I've read these before. Did I like fuck it up in my head? And the director just confirmed it because I was assertive and sounded like I knew what I was talking about?
Oh, God.
Speech 100, honestly. 100 charisma check. I am a good bluffer. I should buy a lottery ticket, honestly. And as an indie, I'm sure the director once again thought getting rid of me to keep the volunteers would be negligible for their bottom line because I do not have the support of a company.
Yeah. Basically, they're saying she's not big enough to do that. It's kind of, she doesn't have the support of a big company to help her. And it's kind of, it is kind of sad though, because she is well known in the community, and it's kind of sad that this is something that really is because Kirsche isn't a bad person. I don't really consider her a bad person, but it is whack that they would not let her attend Offkai panel. I'm just gonna say that because they feel that she's not a big VTuber, and of course they had some of the volunteers had issues with her, and that's specifically a certain group of people that did not like what she had to say or make jokes about. And it's like, dude, come on, this is stupid. So anyways, leave your thoughts down below and tell what you guys think, is I gotta get out of here. So take care.